Most danger does not look dangerous. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't threaten you openly. It doesn't come with violence or chaos. In fact, the most dangerous people in your life often look harmless, helpful, even loyal. And that is exactly why they are dangerous. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. While others wrote about morality and ideals, he wrote about reality, about how power actually moves, how people actually behave, and how destruction usually enters your life quietly, wearing a friendly face. If you think danger only comes from enemies, you are already exposed. Because enemies are obvious. You see them coming. You prepare for them. You respect their capacity to harm you. Friends, allies, and familiar figures are far more lethal. They have access, they have proximity, and they operate below your awareness. This is why intelligent people still get ruined. They aren't destroyed by stupidity. They aren't destroyed by lack of talent. They are destroyed by misplaced trust. Machiavelli warned that the wrong people around you will not just slow you down, they will hollow you out, drain your leverage, compromise your judgment, and eventually turn you into a weaker version of yourself. Not through betrayal alone, but through influence. Because influence shapes decisions long before consequences arrive. The people you tolerate shape your behavior. The people you listen to shape your perception. The people you keep close shape your future. And some people exist in your life for one reason only: to benefit from your strength while quietly resenting it. This video is not about paranoia. It is about discernment. We are going to expose 7 types of people Machiavelli would tell you to avoid immediately, not because they are evil, but because their presence is incompatible with power, stability, and long-term success. These are not character flaws. They are patterns, and patterns don't change because you're nice. Ignore them, and you will pay in time, energy, reputation, and peace. Identify them early, and you gain something rare: control. Let's begin. The first dangerous person is not who you think it is. Dangerous person 1. The flatterer. This is the most common threat and the one people fall for the fastest. The flatterer agrees with you too quickly, praises you too easily, supports you too loudly. They make you feel seen, respected, even admired. And because admiration feels good, you lower your guard. Machiavelli warned explicitly about this type. He said that nothing is more dangerous to a ruler than false praise, because truth disappears the moment flattery enters the room. The flatterer does not admire you. They study you. They learn what feeds your ego. They mirror your opinions. They reinforce your blind spots. Why? Because flattery buys access, and access is power. These people are not loyal to you. They are loyal to their position near you. The moment your status drops, your usefulness fades, or your decisions no longer benefit them, their praise evaporates. Sometimes it flips into resentment. Here's how to spot them. They never challenge you even. When you're wrong, they frame every idea you have as brilliant. They repeat your words back to you with enthusiasm. They avoid giving you bad news. That last one is the most dangerous. A flatterer will let you walk into mistakes just to avoid displeasing you. And leaders are not destroyed by enemies nearly as often as they are destroyed by people who refuse to tell them the truth. Machiavelli believed a wise man must invite criticism, but only from those who have no incentive to manipulate him. The flatterer fails this test completely. The fix is brutal but necessary. Pay attention to who disagrees with you respectfully. The person who risks mild tension to tell you the truth is infinitely more valuable than the one who protects your ego. If someone's loyalty depends on your success, they are not loyal. They are invested. An investment always comes with conditions. The next type is far quieter but far more corrosive. Dangerous person 2. The indecisive one. This person will never stab you in the back. They will do something far worse. They will freeze when you need them most. Machiavelli had deep contempt for indecisive people, especially those close to power, not because they are malicious, but because uncertainty is contagious, and hesitation spreads faster than fear. The indecisive person talks a lot, but commits to nothing. They see all sides. They understand every angle. They delay decisions under the disguise of thoughtfulness. They tell you, let's wait, let's see, let's not rush. And while they wait, opportunities die. In conchimis, the indecisive person looks reasonable, even wise. But when pressure appears, when speed matters, when risk is unavoidable, they collapse. Not dramatically, quietly, they disappear into ambiguity. Here's why they're dangerous. They slow momentum. They drain urgency. They weaken resolve. Power requires movement. Even wrong action is often better than no action. The indecisive person paralyzes groups, organizations, and leaders by turning every choice into a debate with no conclusion. Machiavelli warned that fortune favors the bold not because bold men are always right, but because time punishes hesitation. Watch for these signs. They avoid taking clear positions. They defer responsibility upward or sideways. They want consensus before commitment. They fear being blamed more than missing opportunity. This person is not neutral. Neutrality, in moments of consequence, always favors decay. The real danger comes when you mistake their caution for wisdom. When you keep them close, you start doubting your own instincts. Your decisiveness softens. Your edge dulls. You begin outsourcing courage to someone who has none. And when a critical moment arises, conflict, betrayal, crisis, they will not stand with you. They will wait to see who wins. Machiavelli had a name for this behavior: weakness disguised as prudence. The fix is simple but ruthless. Never put decisive authority in the hands of someone who fears consequence. Keep them away from strategic decisions. Limit their influence, or remove them entirely, because a slow ally in dangerous times is indistinguishable from an enemy. The next type is more emotional and far more personal. Dangerous person. 3. The resentful depender. This one is subtle, and if you miss it, it will cost you more than any open enemy ever could. The resentful dependent relies on you but hates you for it. They need your resources, your guidance, your protection, your influence. They benefit from your strength, and at the same time, your very competence reminds them of what they lack. That contradiction rots them from the inside out. Machiavelli warned that people who owe you everything are not always grateful. Often they are bitter, because dependence creates shame, and shame seeks an outlet. At first, this person appears loyal. They stay close. They agree. They accept help. But beneath the surface, something dark is forming. Resentment disguised as humility. Here's how it shows up. They downplay your success. They joke about your authority. They subtly question your decisions. They remind you of your flaws to keep you grounded. They will never challenge you openly. That would risk losing access. Instead, they undermine you quiet through tone, implication, and timing. This person becomes most dangerous when your position weakens even slightly. A small failure, a temporary setback, a moment of uncertainty. That's when they strike not with confrontation, but with withdrawal. They stop supporting you. They stop defending you. They start aligning elsewhere. Machiavelli observed that those raised up too quickly or sustained without earning their position often become the first to betray. Not because they planned it, but because they were waiting for permission. You cannot fix this with generosity. In fact, generosity makes it worse. Every favor deepens the imbalance. Every rescue reinforces their dependence and their quiet anger toward you for being the one who had to rescue them. Watch for this pattern carefully. They take more than they give. They rely on your strength, but resist your authority. They become uncomfortable when you succeed publicly. They frame your boundaries as cruelty. This is not loyalty. This is proximity fueled by need. The fix is harsh but necessary. Never sustain someone who cannot stand on their own while standing beside you. Help people rise, but do not carry them indefinitely. Dependency breeds resentment, and resentment eventually looks for revenge. Machiavelli understood this well. Power shared with the wrong people becomes a weapon turned inward. The next type doesn't depend on you at all, which makes them even more dangerous. Dangerous person for the ambitious imitator. This person admires you, but not in the way you think. They watch you closely, study your habits, copy your language, echo your ideas. At first, it feels flattering. It feels like influence. But Machiavelli warned that imitation without loyalty is a prelude to replacement. The ambitious imitator does not want to work with you. They want to become you or ye move you. They learn how you think. They observe how you lead. They note what gives you authority. And while you assume mentorship, they are preparing succession. Here's how they hide in plain sight. They praise your intelligence while mimicking it. They repeat your strategies as if they were their own. They position themselves as your natural extension. They seek visibility in the same spaces you dominate. This person is dangerous because they don't oppose youth you and mirrors blur identity. Machiavelli warned that ambitious men are most loyal only until they believe they can do without you. Once they feel independent, gratitude disappears. What remains is competition. You will notice the shift when they stop crediting you. They begin testing authority subtly. They seek alliances beyond you. They frame your guidance as outdated. This is the moment when proximity turns predatory. The mistake most people make is assuming shared ambition equals shared loyalty. It doesn't. Ambition is selfish by nature. Unless it is restrained by principle, it eventually turns inward. The fix is strategic distance. Never allow someone who wants your position to fully understand your leverage. Teach skills, but keep vision private. Share tasks, but retain control of direction. Machiavelli believed a ruler should empower others just enough to serve, but never enough to rival. The ambitious imitator must never know everything you know. The next type doesn't imitate you at all. They wait. Dangerous person. 5. The moralizer. This one is especially lethal because they don't attack your power directly. They attack your legitimacy. The moralizer wraps themselves in virtue. They speak in ideals, principles, ethics, what's right, and on the surface, they look noble. But Machiavelli warned that people who weaponize morality are often the most manipulative of all, because morality, when used selectively, is not guidance. It is leverage. The moralizer doesn't care about virtue. They care about control. They appear whenever a hard decision must be made, when compromise is required, when strategy demands flexibility, and suddenly they raise the alarm not about effectiveness, but about goodness. They ask questions like, Is this who we want to be? Don't you think this crosses a line? What will people think? Notice something important. These questions never come with solutions. Only hesitation, only guilt. Machiavelli understood that rigid morality is a luxury of people who do not carry responsibility. Leaders, builders, and strategists live in reality, where every choice has the moralizer refuses to accept trade-offs but still wants influence over outcomes. That's the danger. Here's how you spot them. They apply standards inconsistently. They condemn in public but compromise in private. They judge outcomes without owning consequences. They gain status by appearing above the situation. The moralizer often lacks power themselves, so they borrow it by positioning you as the villain. If they can make you doubt your right to act, they weaken you without ever challenging you directly. And once guilt takes root, decisiveness dies. Machiavelli wrote that those who wish to appear good at all times will come to ruin among those who are not good. The moralizer exploits this weakness. They know that if they can trap you in appearing righteous, they can steer your actions without ever taking responsibility. The fix is clarity. Separate ethics from manipulation. Real ethics accept complexity. Fake ethics demand purity. Never allow someone who bears no risk to dictate your choices through shame. Listen to counsel, but never surrender authority to those who hide behind virtue while avoiding consequence. Because the person who controls your conscience controls your power. And the next type doesn't shame you. They wait until you fall. Dangerous person number 6. The opportunistic loyalist. This person swears allegiance until it becomes inconvenient. They stand beside you when you are winning. They praise you publicly. They defend you loudly when the outcome is clear. But Machiavelli warned that loyalty revealed only in prosperity is not loyalty at all. It is calculation. The opportunistic loyalist is not committed to you. They are committed to momentum. As long as you are strong, visible, and advancing, they attach themselves to your success. Your rise elevates them. Your power shields them. Your reputation becomes their currency. But watch carefully what happens when things change. A setback, a controversy, a moment of uncertainty. That is when their silence arrives. They stop speaking up. They stop defending you. They begin distancing quietly. They align themselves with ambiguity. They don't betray you outright. That would be risky. Instead, they withdraw support at the exact moment support is needed most. Machiavelli understood this pattern well. He wrote that men are quick to support fortune but slow to defend adversity. The opportunistic loyalist embodies this perfectly. Their allegiance is conditional, and the condition is your advantage. Here's how to identify them early. They appear after your success, not before it. They emphasize association more than contribution. They are present in celebration, absent in difficulty. They avoid taking risks on your behalf. These people are dangerous because they weaken your position precisely when strength is most required. Power is tested not during ascent, but during resistance. And when resistance appears, the opportunistic loyalist disappears. The fix is simple but unforgiving. Never confuse proximity with loyalty. True allies show up before success, not after. They take small risks when the outcome is unclear. They defend principles, not just winners. Keep the opportunistic loyalist at a distance. Let them orbit, but never anchor your strategy, confidence, or defense to someone whose commitment depends on your momentum. Because the final type of dangerous person does not wait for you to fall. They plan for it. Dangerous person 7. The patient saboteur. This is the most dangerous person of all. They don't flatter you. They don't hesitate. They don't moralize loudly. They don't attach themselves openly. They wait. The patient saboteur plays the long game. They appear neutral, reasonable, even supportive. They rarely oppose you directly because they understand something critical. Open resistance creates enemies, but quiet positioning creates opportunity. Machiavelli feared this type above all others because they do not act out of emotion. They act out of calculation. They observe your weaknesses. They note your habits. They track who trusts you want, who doubts you. And while you assume coexistence, they are preparing conditions. The patient saboteur does not attack when you are strong. They attack when timing guarantees deniability, when blame can be shifted, when the damage looks accidental. You'll recognize them by these traits. They collect information but share little. They remain calm during chaos. They survive every power shift unharmed. They are never present when decisions go wrong, but always present when consequences are assigned. They don't rush betrayal. They wait until it looks justified. Machiavelli understood that conspiracies rarely succeed through force. They succeed through patience, through positioning, through letting others make the mistake first. And here is the brutal truth. The patient saboteur often appears loyal longer than anyone else because loyalty is their camouflage. The fix is vigilance without paranoia. Never reveal everything to one person. Never allow someone who never risks anything to know everything. Trust should be layered. Information should be compartmentalized. Power should never be centralized in the hands of someone who never exposes themselves to consequence. Machiavelli wrote that men rarely act decisively unless compelled. The patient saboteur compels others to act and steps aside. If you remember nothing else from this list, remember this: the most dangerous people are not emotional. They are strategic. Avoid them not with fear but with structure, because power is not lost all at once. It is surrendered gradually through access, tolerance, and misplaced trust. And once you learn to see these patterns, you stop being surprised, you stop being vulnerable, and you stop being easy to destroy. If this opens your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment with your thoughts, hit like to support the channel, and subscribe to Mind of the Alpha for more strategy, power, and psychology. Stay sharp, stay disciplined. I'll see you in the next one.